you're 20 years old. Backpacking across Australia. Living the dream. A cheap backpack. A camera full of photos. Just enough money to keep moving. Every day feels like an adventure. New towns. New people. New roads. The kind of freedom most people only talk about. Then a truck pulls over beside you, dust swirling around the tires. The driver leans across the passenger seat, smiles, and asks, "Need a lift, mate?" He looks normal, friendly. The kind of guy your parents would trust. The kind of guy you'd never remember twice. So you throw your backpack in the truck, climb inside, and shut the door. Hours later, you realize you've made the biggest mistake of your life. Because the man driving isn't taking you where you asked to go. The road is getting emptier. The forest is getting thicker. And somewhere beneath the driver's seat, you spot a revolver and rope. Tonight, we are going to talk about Ivan Milat, the man who inspired Wolf Creek. Welcome to the podcast You Can't Unhear. Australia's Outback has always had a strange reputation. Beautiful. Endless. Almost hypnotic. Red dirt stretching to the horizon. Ancient landscapes older than most civilizations. Roads that seem to go on forever. But there's another side to it. A darker side. Because once you're deep enough into the Australian bush, there's nobody around. No witnesses. No help. No one to hear you scream. And that's exactly what made Ivan Milat so dangerous. He understood isolation better than anyone. Ivan Robert Marco Milat was born in 1944, the fifth of 14 children. Growing up in New South Wales, his father was a Croatian immigrant. His mother came from Australia. And from a very young age, Ivan and several of his brothers were already known to police, fighting, stealing, causing trouble. The sort of kid everyone in the neighbourhood warned you about. By 13, he was already being sent to a residential school. By 17, he'd graduated to juvenile detention. Nothing about his early life suggests redemption, only escalation. Every year, the crimes became more serious. The violence became more serious. And eventually, the people around him stopped seeing a troubled kid and started seeing a dangerous man. During his 20s and 30s, Ivan drifted between jobs and prison cells, sometimes working, sometimes arrested, sometimes disappearing completely. At one point, while awaiting trial for abducting and sexually assaulting 2 hitchhikers, he actually faked his own suicide and fled to New Zealand, which truly sounds like something from a movie. Except, this was real. Eventually, he returned. And in 1975, he got a job as a truck driver. That job changed everything. Because suddenly, Ivan had something he never had before. Freedom. Access. Mobility. The entire state became his hunting ground. For the next 20 years, he travelled endlessly across New South Wales, driving highways, passing through forests, stopping in small towns. And somewhere during those years, people began disappearing. Mostly backpackers, young travellers, people far from home, people nobody would immediately notice missing. Then came September 1992. Two men were out running through Belanglo State Forest, a dense stretch of woodland southwest of Sydney, the kind of place that feels isolated even in daylight. At some point, they spotted something in the undergrowth. A body. Then another. Just hours later, two backpackers, both previously reported missing, both dead. Police immediately knew something was wrong, very wrong. Because bodies don't just appear together in remote forests by coincidence. Then, a year later, more remains were discovered. Then more. And more. Until investigators realized they weren't dealing with one murder, or two, or three. They were dealing with a serial killer. 7 bodies, hidden throughout Belanglo Forest. Young travellers from Germany, Britain, Australia. People who had come searching for adventure, only to disappear forever. Until a breakthrough came from a man named Paul Onions. And without Paul, Ivan Milat might have kept killing. Years earlier, Paul had been backpacking through Australia, just another traveller trying to get from one destination to another, when a man offered him a ride. The man introduced himself as Bill. Friendly, relaxed, normal. At first, everything seemed fine. Then Paul noticed something. The route wasn't right. The driver wasn't going where he said he would. Then suddenly, the man pulled out a revolver and rope. Imagine that moment. The realization, the instant your brain understands. This isn't a misunderstanding. This isn't a robbery. You're about to die. Somehow, Paul escaped. He ran, flagged down help, survived. And years later, his description became one of the most important pieces of evidence in Australian criminal history. When police finally searched Ivan Milat's property, the case exploded. Because inside they found exactly what they had been looking for. Weapons, rifles, a Browning pistol, a Bowie knife. And most importantly, belongings from the victims. Cameras, backpacks, personal items, things that should never have been there. Then investigators searched the homes of several family members and, shockingly, found more victim belongings. At that point, there was no longer any doubt. They had their killer. In 1996, Ivan Milat was convicted of murdering 7 backpackers. But even today, many investigators believe the real number could be much higher. Some estimates place it as high as 37 victims. That might be one of the most terrifying parts of this story, because Australia is huge, and the bush keeps secrets well. Years later, a filmmaker named Greg McLean was trying to create a horror movie. A truly Australian horror movie. Something raw. Something realistic. Something terrifying. Then he read about Ivan Milat. That moment he knew. He had his villain. That inspiration became Wolf Creek, a film about young travellers stranded in the Australian outback, rescued by a friendly local named Mick Taylor, a man who seems charming, funny, helpful, until he isn't. The movie exaggerated many details. Some events never happened. Some victims were fictional. But the central idea? That was real. The idea that the smiling stranger offering help might be the most dangerous thing in the Outback. That came directly from Ivan Milat. Ivan Milat died in prison in 2019, still insisting on his innocence, still refusing to fully explain what happened, still leaving questions behind. And honestly, I think that's what makes this story linger. Not the murders, not the trial, not even Wolf Creek. It's the trust. Because every victim probably had the same thought. Just before getting into the vehicle, just before accepting help, just before everything changed. He seems nice. That's it. 3 words. The same 3 words millions of people say every day. And for Ivan Milat's victims, those 3 words became the last mistake they ever made. The Australian Outback is beautiful, ancient, peaceful. But somewhere among those endless roads and forests, there are places where people vanished. Places where somebody was waiting. Places that never gave them back. And sometimes, the most dangerous predator isn't hiding in the bush. He's sitting behind the wheel, offering you a ride. Stay safe out there, guys. I'll see you on the next episode of the podcast You Can't Unhear.